Welcome to the Explainer. Look, if you're a procurement manager or sourcing pro in the beauty space, you already know the ground is shifting beneath our feet. We're looking ahead to 2026, and let me tell you, sourcing out of China, it's not just about hunting down the cheapest labor or scraping the bottom of the barrel for the lowest cost per unit anymore. Not even close. It is entirely about specialized factory DNA. It's about taking your brand's highly technical, specific needs and perfectly matching them with a factory built from the ground up to do exactly that. So today we are decoding the ultimate 2026 China Beauty Manufacturer Playbook. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our playbook for today. We'll be looking at the 2026 beauty sourcing shift, mapping out China's beauty clusters, matching factory DNA to your specific needs, navigating volumes and niches, breaking down the procurement manager's workflow, and finally, mitigating compliance and risks. Starting off with Section 1, the 2026 beauty sourcing shift, and how we are moving way beyond the low-cost illusion. You see, the beauty industry in China has gone through a massive consolidation. It's definitely not the fragmented free-for-all it used to be. Instead, it's matured into these highly specialized hubs. Manufacturers are now going all in on clean beauty standards and sustainable packaging. So as a procurement manager, if you're still relying on the old playbook, just endlessly chasing the lowest quote, you're going to leave your supply chain incredibly vulnerable. Because the reality of 2026 is exactly this. China's beauty manufacturing industry is no longer defined by low-cost production alone. It is about finding the right biotech partner or regulatory compliant manufacturer. That's your core challenge now. Your job is basically matchmaking. You've got to connect your highly specific sourcing intent with the actual physical reality of the factory floor. Moving to Section 2, mapping China's beauty clusters. Basically, where exactly you need to send your sourcing agents. Before you even think about sending out an RFQ, you have to know which region actually aligns with your manufacturing needs, because physical location literally dictates the specialty over there. For instance, if you need skincare, hair care, and a massive interconnected supply chain ecosystem, you're heading straight to Guangzhou, specifically the Baiyun and Huadu districts. That's the undisputed cosmetics capital. Now, if your brand demands high-end R&D and international joint ventures, you're targeting the premium zone up in Shanghai and Suzhou. And what if you're sourcing beauty tools, packaging, or budget-friendly mass-market color cosmetics? You direct your agents to the Zhejiang cluster, mainly Yiwu or Ningbo. Seriously, just knowing these clusters up front will save a procurement manager weeks of wasted vetting. Section 3. Matching factory DNA to needs. The strategic matchmaker arc. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is how we move from basic geography to hyper-specific factory capabilities. Let's look at the sheer contrast in DNA here. On one side, you have a Tier 1 ODM like Cosmax. They're this quiet giant producing for massive brands like L'Oreal. If you're a global luxury brand and you need prestige R&D, they are absolutely your target. But let's be real about the sourcing constraints. They demand massive minimum order quantities. We're talking 10,000 plus units, and they will rigorously vet your financials. But flip that around, and you have a totally different DNA in a factory like Guangzhou Zhejiang. They act as a low MOQ gateway. If you're a mid-sized brand or a Shopify entrepreneur pushing trendy clean beauty with vitamin C or retinol, Zhejiang is going to offer you startup-friendly flexibility, much faster prototyping, and significantly lower MOQs. You've got to match your size and needs to their specific DNA. And the specialization goes even deeper than that. Let's say your marketing claims require hardcore scientific data to back them up. You're going to need a biotech specialist like Huawei Biotechnology, since they focus entirely on clinical-grade skincare and biological patents. Or what if you want to market direct from ingredient source transparency? Then you partner with Shandong Freda Pharmaceutical. They are literally a pharmaceutical-grade supplier and the world's leading producer of hyaluronic acid, meaning you get direct from source pricing. On the other hand, if you're an ultra-high-end brand looking for innovative pigments and flawless runway-quality powder technology, you go to Intercos over in the Suzhou and Shanghai premium zone. They each have completely distinct identities. Think of this breakdown as your ultimate procurement cheat sheet. By categorizing suppliers by their unique DNA, you can instantly identify your perfect match based on your own constraints. Just look at how a functional, clinical brand pairs perfectly with Huawei or Frida at a medium-high MOQ. Meanwhile, a global importer who needs all-in-one makeup kits for department stores should be looking squarely at Zhejiang BNF. Matching the factory's core competency with your actual business model, that is the absolute secret to a seamless supply chain. Section 4. Navigating volumes and niches and getting into specialized sourcing. So specialized sourcing isn't just about the formula inside the bottle. It's about handling specific product types, packaging, and dealing with the very real headache of minimum order quantities. 5,000. That's the magic number, and it's a huge procurement hurdle. What exactly do you do if your brand simply cannot meet a 5,000 unit MOQ for a custom run? Well, the playbook says you definitely shouldn't try to force a tier 1 factory to lower their limits. It just doesn't work. Instead, you pivot. You look for white label suppliers, mostly down in the Guangzhou cluster. These specialists keep pre-made, rigorously safety-tested formulas in stock. This lets you do much smaller private label runs while still staying totally compliant. And when we talk about niches, you really have to source from the absolute masters of those specific domains. Need sheet masks at a massive volume for retail chains? Knox Bell Cow is the undisputed mask king with highly automated lines. Need professional makeup brushes? Yubu Heilon does synthetic and natural tools with customized handles and lower MOQs. But hey, here's a fantastic procurement hack for you. Consider working with a hybrid like Guangdong Mi Dai. They handle both the packaging and the formula. Why does that matter? Because it massively reduces your logistics risk. You aren't shipping empty tubes from one factory to a totally separate filler. And finally, for that premium aesthetic that luxury consumers expect, you'd use a primary packaging specialist like Juice Sun for heavy-walled glass to give the product some real physical heft. Section 5. The procurement manager's workflow. So, the crucial point is making the jump from knowing exactly who to pick to the actionable steps on how to actually secure them. We need a professional ladder to climb here so we don't make costly mistakes. Here is the 4-step workflow every sourcing manager should be living by. Step 1, the technical RFQ. Look, never ever just email a factory and ask for a price. It's a total rookie move. Always provide a specific NCI ingredient list or a benchmark product for them to replicate. Step 2, verification of certifications. Demand their ISO 2276 GMPC certificate and a social audit like BSCI. Step 3, stability and compatibility testing. Make sure they perform a 12-week test on the formula inside your chosen packaging. And then we hit Step 4, which is absolutely non-negotiable. Golden sample approval. A golden sample is a signed-off physical sample that serves as the absolute, undisputed quality benchmark for your QC team before mass production ever begins. Skipping the golden sample approval, that's a catastrophic mistake that no procurement manager can afford to make. Because if the final 10,000 units roll off the line and they don't match your expectations, that golden sample is quite literally your only contractual lifeline. Section 6. Mitigating compliance and risks, also known as the 2026 existential threat. Think about it. You can find the perfect factory. You can negotiate an unbelievable price, but honestly, none of it matters if you hit this ultimate barrier to entry. So, I'll pose the question to you. What is the single biggest sourcing risk in 2026? I'll give you a hint. It's not supply chain delays, and it's actually not rising raw material costs either. The biggest risk, hands down, is regulatory compliance. International standards have fundamentally shifted. For instance, in the US, we now have MACRA, the Modernization of Cosmetics Regulation Act. What this means in practice is that your Chinese supplier absolutely must have a robust internal regulatory department to provide the proper safety paperwork for your importer of record. The exact same logic applies to the updated EU acts. But there is some really good news here. You can actually import general cosmetics from China completely cruelty-free now, meaning no animal testing. But that's only possible provided the manufacturer has those strict safety assessments and GMPC qualifications we just talked about in Step 2 of our workflow. I want to leave you with this final, critical thought. A flawless formula is completely worthless if it can't even cross the border. You really have to ask yourself, does your chosen supplier actually have the regulatory DNA to survive 2026? As a procurement manager, your role has totally evolved. You aren't just a cost cutter anymore, you are a strategic risk manager. I really hope this explainer helps you dig deeper into your factory's true capabilities, ask those tough technical questions, and build a highly compliant, world-class supply chain. Thanks so much for joining me.